I'm Laura Beamer. We're back with Jennifer Dean, and we're going to be talking about how she got started in this industry. So, what did you do first?
Well, I began as an actor, much like what you were talking about earlier, in regard to sort of I loved telling stories. I loved performing, and I will always love acting. And recently, I've been segueing into directing. I've always worked as a producer in theater, and I started producing more film recently as well. So,
what made you change from being an actor and going into the back end of things?
It was partly just wanting to tell stories and wanting to express myself without having to jump through the hoops of auditioning for things where it's like, oh, I might want this, but I don't really want this. But to be able to work on the things that you really wanted to work on and to have control over that, which as an actor often you don't.
Right, so for actors like me, young performers, I feel like that's still kind of an option for us. We can still create our own projects.
I think now is you have more options than ever because of the digital revolution and just the idea that you can so easily get a hold of a digital camera, and things like equipment is so much more accessible than it was even when I started, which isn't that long ago. And now you can do almost anything very easily and get your story out there, put it online. And really it's about learning to tell good stories for me. And I think that those opportunities are available to a much wider group of people.
So if you had to talk to young performers watching this interview today, would you say that the time is now, that it's never too early to start?
Yeah, and I certainly think it's a learning experience, and there's a great Ira Aldridge quote essentially about you have to, as anybody creating something, an artwork, whatever that may be, whether it's a film or a story, or you're going to create a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Because if you don't create a lot of crap, you'll never be able to get to the good stuff. I'm completely butchering the quote, but the idea basically being that you have to go out there and do it. And I think that as a performer, a lot of times it's about sort of seeking out opportunities via auditioning or trying to get involved with projects, whereas I think you can also create your own opportunities. And that's something that I've always been aware of, and I've always tried to do from a producing element. But it's fun to direct too, and being able to work with actors you learn a lot from directing about acting, and I think you learn a lot about directing while acting.
So for young females today, especially minorities, do you have any lasting words of advice? Do you know of any groups that are a good way to get started and to start networking with other females in the industry, whether you're a performer or you're behind the camera?
If you go online, there's so many places that you can find resources now that were never available before, and just doing a general search. Several of the women that I interviewed, the young women who are just starting out, they started their projects via Craigslist.
Wow.
So obviously there are pitfalls to that too, but just get yourself out there.
Awesome, great. I can't wait to keep talking about that.